I haven't gotten high in school very often, and anyone who has gotten high in school would know why. It always sounds like a good idea at first, but in practice, it can be so goddamn scary. Now, this story isn't just about me getting high, but instead, the whole squad was smoking in class. And under those circumstances in mind, you know shit had to have gone down, and it did. So it was the first day back to school from summer break, and it was the morning of that day before the classes had started. As the nature of the first day of school goes, I was pissed off, and so was my boy Roderick, the same guy from the mushroom story. We were pissed we had to be back in this place, but it also was sick to see everyone I didn't see over the summer. So we were greeting everyone in the grade, catching up in the hallways, when none other than the man himself, Kevin, comes through the doors, beelines straight to the two of us, and whispers in our ears, "Bro, meet me in the handicapped stall real quick. I got something to tell you." Which, may I add, is an insane way to greet someone on the first day back from summer break, but we followed him into the bathroom to see what was up. As we walked in, Kevin is standing on the toilet like he is about to give a speech to us and says, "Guys, none of the three of us want to be here. Wouldn't you guys agree?" And we nodded our heads in agreement. "Then why don't we go somewhere else?" And this guy pulls out not just one, but three different wax pens, and our mouths are agape. Keep in mind, I rarely smoked at this time, so to see not just one, but three wax pens that this dude had brought into the school was the craziest thing I had ever witnessed. I was like, no way we're smoking right here and right now. And Kevin said, "Not yet. See, I've been dreading the first day of school for a long time now, so I've thought up a way to make it a little more interesting. I want to play a game. We each carry a pen on us for the entirety of the day. Every time somebody says some dumb shit, you have to take a hit. And if you don't get caught all day, you get to keep the pen. But if you get caught, you owe me $50. In one moment, I was going about my ordinary day in school, and in the next, I'm choosing which pill I'm gonna take, and you know I took the green pill, and so did Roderick. I won't lie, the speech had us getting hyped in this bathroom stall. If anyone was in the bathroom at the time, I feel like they probably would have gotten the wrong idea. But anyways, we had to plan our day. We all brought out our schedules to see which classes we shared. I shared Spanish with Roderick, math I was with both, English I was alone for, and study hall I had the two of them again. But the bell rang and me and Roderick headed over to Spanish and departed from Kevin. As we walked into the classroom, we agreed we wouldn't sit next to each other, so if one person came down, the other wouldn't come down with them. And it would be easier to stay undercover, so we both sat in the back corners of the class. The class started and the teachers were going over the syllabus when this kid raised his hand and asked, "When we get our assignments, do you want our names in English or Spanish?" Me and Roderick just stared at each other from across the class after that. We knew what we had to do. As soon as the teacher turned around to the whiteboard, we took a hit, but then she turned around and we just had to hold in the smoke until she turned around again. And once I did, I started coughing loud. I couldn't hold it in that long. So I crossed my arms and put my head down, and no one thought anything of it, but it was close. The class went on and we got out of that one safe, although those wax pens, if you've ever smoked them before, hit hard. So even though I only took one hit, I was already feeling it as we walked to math. We got to the class first, and as Kevin walked in, he looked so fucked up. I was like, "Bro, what happened to you?" And all he replied with was, "It was Liam, bro." And then just took a seat before I could respond. Lord have mercy on his soul. Let me tell you, math was a dreadful class to get through. Not because of the challenge. We didn't even have to smoke once during this period. It was just the munchies, bro. Lunch was the next period, and I was fiending for that school lunch. The most entertaining thing that happened to that class was that I sat across from Kevin, staring him straight on, and he just kept nodding out of existence and coming back. This guy was on another planet, and it was only 10 in the morning. Once lunch came, I spent like $20 on snacks, but they were all out of the vending machine. which was a process I did not have the patience for. Waiting for the food to come down just felt like an eternity. The squad linked up and I tried to get more information on what happened to Kevin during first period. Can you elaborate on what happened to you earlier, bro? Liam, bro, he had to introduce himself and he said he likes kids. He didn't realize how bad that sounded, bro. But he really said it. And to be honest, me and Roderick, we just decided to take a hit right there after hearing that out of respect for what he had gone through. Once the bell rang, I started stressing because my next class was alone. I lost my supports and I had to face English class like a real stoic man. I sat down. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I do know that some kid said something that I had to smoke to. So I had to take a hit. Then the guy next to me leans over and looks into my eyes and just nods. I was sitting next to the school stoner Bradley. Bradley saw this and asked, "Yo, can I get one, bro?" So respectfully, I handed him the pen and with no remorse for his own life proceeded to blow it straight into the air, and of course the teacher noticed and walked over. I thought it was all over for me in this moment, but he just ended up sending Bradley to the office. But the thing is that he still had my pen on him when he left. This guy, 200 IQ, outplayed me and purposefully got sent to the office so he could take the pen for himself. I don't know if that was actually his plan, but that's just what it seemed like to me. Once English ended, I walked into study hall, and this part was the hardest part of the challenge to overcome. If you've had study hall before, you know how silent the class is. So I'm trying to tell these two how I got my pen stolen, but I'm so high I cannot control how loud I'm being, and I just can't communicate what happens. I guess they both deemed that to be smokable, so they both took a hit, and as they exhaled, I couldn't help but just laugh at myself, and I laughed loudly, which alerted the teacher and got Roderick and Kevin caught. But since I got my pen stolen, I got away from it. I didn't have anything on me. They got sent to the front office, and I had to wait out the next hour of this class in an excruciating silence, just paranoid that somebody was gonna come after me. But at the end of the day, nothing happened of it, so I technically won the challenge and got to keep the pen. But since it got stolen, I really just got nothing. But I'm glad I won though, because if I had lost, I would have had to fork over $50 and a new pen. So I dodged a bullet there. So while I didn't get anything, at least I didn't lose. When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half-scheme idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint, surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak, as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside, revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill pill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the za, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, hold on, as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both. This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first. So we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter. But as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had it. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. Adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the za, we had the steak, and we had our magical, precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass. Unintentionally getting high for 3 consecutive days. This happened back when I lived with roommates. I had one roommate that would always buy those storage jars to put his food into. Unknowing to me, he had a jar of very special gummy bears that would sit on the kitchen counter in full view from anywhere in the living room. These special gummy bears, due to the jars he would put them in were completely unmarked and proceeded to make me become an unknowing victim to their powers for the next 3 days. So I woke up at 5 a.m. like the champion beast trailblazer I am. I got my pre-workout and went out to drink it in the living room. This was when I first laid eyes on the gummy bear jar. I thought one little bear wouldn't hurt, so I eat it, drink the pre-workout, and drive to the gym. A little bit into my workout, I'm starting to feel sloshed. Damn, the pre-workout really hitting today. Sheesh, I feel like Charizard. But then it starts to get worse. I'm doing these curls like 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just can't count correctly. My mind is all scattered. I started to realize something was really off when I got on the treadmill and ran 3 miles without feeling a shred of fatigue. I was just in a mental trance the entire time I ran. I go into the locker room, and while I sit here finally with a moment to myself, I realize I probably should not drive myself home. I had to wake up the boy Roman to pick me up and also bring someone else to take my car back because I felt crazy. He pulls up with Cameron and the operation is followed through. Are you alright, man? Yeah, I just feel different, but not bad. We get home and I've got a Zoom class to attend in about an hour. As I'm walking to my room, I pass the gummy bears and eat another one. While I wait for my class, I remember just sitting in my chair, staring at my PC, doing nothing like a zombie. I was trying to mentally will myself into being functional for this class, but since I ate the other gummy bear as I entered my room, it just got worse. I sat in this class just staring at myself in this little Zoom camera window. The teacher even called on me at one point, but I just kept staring. I didn't say a word. It may have been from me being so high I couldn't process what was happening, but there was not a word spoken from me. I woke up this day pretty tired from the high of yesterday, but I still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and realized the bears were edibles. I had an in-person class today to attend, so I left for that pretty early and again ate a gummy on my way out. The gummy hit as I was walking to class and I was like, God damn it, not again, what's happening to me? I keep walking to class because God picks his hardest fights for his strongest soldiers, until I realize I have no idea where I'm at. A few wrong turns had been made without me realizing it, and now I gotta figure out how to get back. I probably walk around these neighborhoods for like 30 minutes just trying to find my way back on track to get to class. But then I remember, oh yeah, I got a phone, I can use this. So I maps my way back to campus, but I had not made the calculations required to know by the time I got there, the class would be over. I walk into the lecture room that would be my class, and there's a whole different teacher in class going on that I attend, thinking, nah, this has got to be the same class. I bet this is just a substitute. The class ends and I'm still oblivious to the fact that that was not the lecture I was meant to be in. An email pops up on my phone about my absence, and I remember replying to the email just saying not true and then walking all the way home. I had homework to do, but as I sat down to do it, I was like, yo, the teacher did not teach us this today. So I just played Elden Ring for the next 8 hours of the day. All this weed I had been consuming kind of messed up my sleep schedule because I woke up this day a good amount later than usual. So when I walked into the living room, my roommates were all awake and out there. I was like, guys, that thing keeps happening to me. I think I gotta go to the doctors today. Something's just not right with my body or something. I reach in and eat another gummy while I'm out here, but this time in full view of all my roommates. Roman's like, bro, you're really gonna eat an edible this early in the day? And just like that, all of the stars aligned in my head. I had been drugging myself on these gummy bears unintentionally for the past 3 days. So you're telling me that those are edibles? I've been eating those every single day recently. Then everyone just erupts to clown on me. These dudes couldn't act right. They're like, oh my fucking god, this dude's a dumbass. So I run into my room in tears and listen to Heartless by Kanye West. I hate my friends. Alright, that's the story. You know the drill. Bye. Being high and alone is something I like. But you know what isn't? Addiction. And if you're watching this video, there's a 99% probability that we we share the same addiction, and that's short form content. I go on these jaunts just about every non-consciously waking moment of my life. So this particular night of me being high and alone served to free me of this terrible addiction, because every time I opened short form content throughout the night, I made myself eat an extra edible in an act of hopefully stopping my addiction. But it only kinda worked. Here's what happened. Right off rip, after eating this gummy, I cleaned my entire house. I was an unstoppable force of cleanliness off these gummies. But afterward, I quickly went back to my addiction. Not YouTube Shorts, I mean gambling.
This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna open a freaking case, dude. Holy crap. Oh, alright.
But I felt that if I was to truly free myself of addiction, I probably shouldn't make exceptions. So I ate another gummy after this as well. Then I instantly opened Snapchat and went onto the shorts because I'm not very smart, which meant another one down the hatch. I had already eaten 3 gummies, so I knew I needed a foolproof strategy that would ensure I wouldn't watch any more shorts. I decided to attack the problem at its roots, which is my attention span. I needed a way to fully reset my mind, and my idea to do so was a kind of strange approach in hindsight. The plan was to sit down in an empty room and just exist with myself and my drywall. I sat there and stared at drywall with as much mental focus as I could possibly exert for as long as I could. I would start to feel my focus wavering periodically. The only thing this ended up actually accomplishing, though, was giving myself a headache, which is ironically exactly what YouTube Shorts do as well. Alright, so the drywall strat, it's not working. Maybe I just watch full-length YouTube videos instead. Maybe that will fix me. This was a worse idea than the drywall. The YouTube app did that thing where it opens into shorts, so I start watching a handful of these before realizing what I've done. I ate another edible, but to be honest, YouTube Shorts had admittedly fed me some interesting slop this time around. I was watching a big, strong, shirtless, hot man climb a boulder, which got me in a real mood to watch more men climbing rocks. I was relentless with the men rock climbing videos. I watched Olympic climbing. I watched little men climbing. I watched big men climbing. All this climbing made me want to climb myself. So I bought a membership at a climbing gym. I haven't used it yet, but eventually whenever I do, I bet it'll be pretty cool. In an attempt to feel the triumphant victory of climbing rocks, I ended up climbing onto my bed from the floor, which isn't as impressive, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then out of left field, YouTube recommendation threw a real curveball at me. Teen Titans Go movie magic. This video hit the spot like nothing before. This show is just so goated. I was watching it so involved and entranced by the funniness and bright colors. Although I was really lost in the plot here. I didn't realize this while I was high, but this is actually like 5 videos strung together into one. Somehow I still managed to follow some kind of plot despite there not being one, which is something quite impressive. But this whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about how funny Robin was. This dude has to be the best written character of the millennium. I really came to realize the delicate intricacies of his character here. The only downside of this show is that it's bright and fast and really cool. Just like everything else, it was bad for my attention span. I needed to find some other method to fix myself. I search on Google how to slow attention span and find this article. After reading it, at the end, they recommend behavior therapy, which I don't need. So the article was shit and it didn't help me at all. Considering that the other things in this article were chewing gum and drinking water, I came to realize after reading this that I'm actually doing everything perfectly and optimally for fixing my attention span, if that's really all it takes. I guess I'm just left to live in torment and evil constantly. Afterward, I went down a massive YouTube rabbit hole, so I'll just give you some of the good ones before I went bye-bye sleep time for the night. And trust me, the last one will change something in you. So I watched how to turn a Lego man into meth. Then I watched pirate videos about how to be pirates. Those ones were pretty sweet. I learned how to become the Pope. I watched this video and legitimately did not listen to one word for the entire 30 minutes. I watched for an hour about the Napoleonic Wars. I've never given a squat about history at all in my life, so I don't know why I watched this this, but it was interesting. I found out how to board an airplane. Then I watched a ton of these kid gaming videos, and they went so hard. But the biggest video I watched was this one. This video is something special. Anyways, subscribe. When I was a kid, I really thought that quicksand in the Bermuda Triangle would cause a lot more problems in my day-to-day life. But that's just how it goes in a stupid child's brain. The only thing that kids truly understand is that hamburgers and cheeseburgers go well with fries. So I ended up adopting some pretty brain-dead fears. And with brain-dead fears, we can conclude brain-dead solutions follow. I thought it was gonna be any day until a criminal broke into my home and held my entire family at gunpoint. But this was a usual for me, and I had a game plan prepared in case this very situation happened. I knew eventually the criminal would come looking for me in my bedroom, and so before he did, I would open my door to get perched up on top of the door, hiding in the corner. As the criminal starts to enter my room, I would jump onto his head, put my hands inside of his mouth, and scratch the roof of his mouth as hard as possible. This was the most effective method of inflicting pain I could think of. Unbeknownst to my stupid ass self is the counterattack of the criminal simply biting my fingers and shooting me dead. But that's just an example of how my brain used to think. Now imagine putting that same kid onto the internet with no external moderation. The day's inevitable. He gets traumatized when stumbling across Teletubbies get owned by Darth Tubby. This video is so funny now. The way that they scream and weep makes me laugh. But back in the day, I was genuinely disturbed by seeing the innards of a Teletubby. I thought Darth Tubby was gonna come for me, and if you look closely, Darth Tubby does not have a mouth, so I can't do my signature attack on him. Despite my trauma, 9-year-old me had a twisted fascination towards scary internet things. So of course, I eventually found video game creepypasta stories. The only one I was really drawn toward was Ben Drowned. The story goes that there was a kid with a Legend of Zelda video game that died and now curses the game. I never cared about all that, but for some reason, I got addicted to it. I just thought the face was creepy and would imagine him spawning into my 5th grade science class. And we can't talk about creepypasta stories without mentioning the big dog Herobrine. I would always get an unsettling feeling when I was alone in a mine shaft as a kid, but that was pretty much it. If anything, I was the cause of other kids' Herobrine trauma. On Minecraft Xbox 360 edition, if you were the host of the world, you had the option to remove name tags from above your head and go invisible. So I would find kids on Black Ops 2 and be like, hey, you wanna play Minecraft with me? Get them in a game and do the old stand behind them until they turn around, then go invisible with the Herobrine skin tactic. Maybe scaring other kids was my way of coping with how scary Ben Drown was to me. But by the time FNAF came out, I didn't touch that game at all. I already had thoughts of Freddy standing at my door frame watching me sleep, and I wasn't about to make that worse. But that's all stuff on the internet. I can simply avoid it by not going on my laptop, and then all my fears are gone into fairyland. Except for when I'm in my own living room watching Adventure Time and they show this. On my young life, I thought Cartoon Network was a safe place, but I remember this clip disturbing me. But the only other fear I adopted from cartoons was summer school. These shows made it out like summer school was 2 months of extreme slave labor. And as a 9-year-old, I didn't know how school worked or what my grades were. I could have been thrown into the summer school mines at any moment as far as I knew. But on some real guapo shit, going to Spirit Halloween was like entering hell. The big clown robots were so scary, and all the step here to activate buttons were like walking through landmines. One wrong step and I'll get flashbacks to the excavation explosives we used in the summer school mines. But by far the worst one was the giant spider that would jump at you. This spider was so fucked up that it pretty much ruined Halloween for me. One time someone had it hiding in their bush when I went up to trick or treat as a kid, and it jump scared me. And at that point, I don't even want the candy anymore. If you're gonna give me trauma as a trade-off, that's not an equivalent exchange. I would walk around the neighborhoods actively avoiding any house that looked like it had any amount of effort put into the decorations. It resulted in me only getting poo-poo candy like Whoppers, but at least I didn't have to face the spider. But nowadays, the only thing I fear is the IRS, so looking back, the spider doesn't really seem that bad. I've seen videos recently of people telling their experiences going to school high, so I thought I'd share my experience of sneaking into my high school while high. A complete Metal Gear Solid covert operation breaking into my high school after hours. It was very illegal. And just a disclaimer to anyone watching this, don't follow in my footsteps. This was a bad decision. I could have been locked up for the atrocities I committed this night. And I can't go back, bro. This story starts on a summer afternoon of my senior year. I was at my boy's birthday party. We'll call this particular birthday boy Cameron. There was a handful of others there, but they weren't particularly important to the story, so we'll just call them anonymous individuals. The vibes were peak, and we were out grilling in the backyard, making some of the best food known to man. For Cameron's birthday, his parents got a hotel so that he could invite as many people over as he wanted, which, as you know, means the night came and so did that gas. And for Cameron's birthday, you know we all had to turn up and smoke until we forgot who we were and why we were there. People were throwing up, and at one point, I swear this guy just started playing Valorant for no reason. Shit was just happening, and it was a good time. As it got pretty late into the night, people started to wind down, but I was still feeling a little nefarious, as I do. I asked around if anyone wanted to go for a walk, but everyone was pretty gone, so this walk of mine became a solo mission. Something about Cameron's house is that he lives about a block away from the school, and I hadn't been there all summer, so I thought it would be fun to walk around the school grounds. And I won't lie, even though the neighborhood is pretty safe and it was only a short walk, being all high and alone at night was starting to get me a little paranoid. It just felt a little too quiet for me, but I think that was really just the weed talking. Also, an important note to add is that my high school is kind of set up in a weird way. There's a main building to the place and a few separate buildings for the classes, and the rest is entirely outdoors. There's no hallways, which made sneaking around the cameras pretty easy because I could just come at the building from any angle. And since I had been going here for a few years, I knew where all the cameras were located at anyways. Despite having this knowledge, my high ass decided to walk straight through the front entrance where there is a camera directly pointed at me. I walked down the center of the courtyard of the school and just tried to open the front door. I could not have been less covert. It was like I did everything in my power to be seen. I don't know why opening the front door was the first thing I did either, because breaking into the school was not my original plan. I just started wanting to get into the building. Eventually, I went over to the side entrance of the building, and for whatever reason, it was unlocked. So I walked in, and it had a very similar feeling to walking into a Toys R Us as a kid. I knew I wasn't supposed to be here, and that made it so much more fun. As I walked in, I passed right by another camera, but I really just didn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure that one is fake anyways, probably, and I made a beeline for the bathrooms. You know when you have to be in school at night for whatever reason and life just feels different in an indescribable way? It was very similar to that feeling as I stood in this bathroom. Leaving, I noticed this merch table, and I just snatched this black sweatshirt and proceeded to wear it for the rest of the night. I just stole from the school. I tried to get into some of the classrooms, but they were all locked except for the biology room, so I just went in there. It was pitch black, and I wasn't about to turn the lights on, so I had to walk around with my phone flash on, and this is when I started to hear police sirens. I went into panic mode. I looked out the window and I was making a plan to run instantly. The police had to drive past the school on the road and take 2 lefts to get into the parking lot. If I see that first left, I take the back exit and run into the forest, which should give me enough time to escape to the park and back home. I just gotta hope that they don't check the cameras and recognize my face, and then that was when I was like, oh shit. Even if I did run, I still have this sweater on. There's physical proof that somebody has been in here and they're gonna know it's missing, check the cameras and find me, and I can't go back to jail, bro. And then the police didn't take the turn and I was chilling, but I was still on my toes. I did a little peeking around and eventually struck gold. I found the crate that had all the Chromebooks and MacBooks, as well as another backpack filled with them. It took every fiber in my body to not steal this laptop, but I decided to put it back so that I didn't face jail time because I just can't go back, bro. There was probably like $500,000 of equipment that I could have just stolen in that room, which is crazy. And I wanted to take something, so I just snatched this little 3D printed astronaut, and I actually still have it with me now. I left the classroom and tried a few other buildings, but they were all locked, and I was getting a little sussed out at this point until one door opened, and that door was none other than the front office of this school. I could have gone onto the laptops and changed my grades. I could have set myself up for a future in there. They even had more MacBooks in that office too, but I left because I had been there for a while and I was just bugging out. So after a long journey, I headed home in my new sweatshirt and my little astronaut toy. I got to Cameron's house and just slept on the floor. In hindsight, I'm glad no one came with me because it probably would have made a lot more noise and for sure would have gotten us caught. And also the fact that they left so many doors unlocked is just insane to me. Criminals could have just been crawling through my school at night and I would have had no idea. They could be crawling through your school right now. Think about that. Anyways, I could have been arrested for trespassing that night, but instead I got a cool astronaut toy. These big old doohickeys are notorious for being the kings of smoking equipment. Just look at this list, it's at number 1. And it's for a good reason. Anyone who's ever used one knows just how lethal a few hits can be. And I did 10 big hits living to tell the tale, baby. I was in a smoke competition with this guy that is genuinely unhinged and vile as a person, but we'll get into that. It all started in one of my stacked classrooms. I had Roderick, Adam, Roman, need I say more? But there was one unnamed mystery individual in this class as well. No one knew him, but also everybody knew of him. He'd always be dressed up extremely classily. He had this pot hat he always wore. He had those anime hoodies and his classic lightning bolt Crocs. The dude dressed so loudly despite never speaking a word once, until Roman did his talking to strangers thing and came up to the squad like, "Yo guys, I talked to the Croc guy, he seems kinda cool, I'm gonna hang out with him." But then "I'm gonna hang out with him" quickly turned into "we all hang out with him," because the three of us were just too curious to meet this guy. We had to be there. So the plans were made, of course, at Adam's magnificent property. The day had come and the boys were all dressed up head to toe for Croc Guy's arrival. As he burst through the front door, we were all pleasantly surprised to see he was still sporting that iconic look. Considering his hat, we wasted no time to get to the point. "You wanna smoke?" Sure." So we get the equipment and all tiptoe downstairs ready for smoke time. "So how often you smoke that epic, bro?" Just about every day." "Oh, alright, so you think you can do more than I can?" Well, why don't we find out, huh?" So I grab that thing, take a hit, and pass it over to him. It goes around its rotation about 3 more times before the big man Adam has to tap out. 2 more rotations, and Roderick taps out. Then ultimately, once we get to the 7th hit, I look over at Croc Guy, and he says to me, I can't do this anymore." So me and Roman do a celebratory dance to commemorate victory. "I feel on top of the world! We need to go to the gym!" So we go into Adam's home gym. Like I said, he's got quite the estate. And me and Roman start hitting this punching bag with no remorse for our hands. In the face of success and 7 bong rips, there was no pain to be felt. But Roman must have had some serious demons because he took it pretty far, but he's the unhinged one, so it's not unexpected of him. After we broke our actual hands, we walk back over to meet with the group downstairs. But it's important to note, as we walked back, I was walking behind Roman. We were met at a crossroad where going left would lead us downstairs, which was where everyone was, but going right would lead us to Adam's bedroom, where I could swear I heard some kind of noise from. But I had thought that everyone was still downstairs. Did they come up to Adam's room? Roman didn't hear this, so he kept walking without realizing I had stopped behind him. So I turned alone and walked towards Adam's bedroom, and as I walked in, I see the Croc Guy laying on the floor, but I didn't see anyone else. Yo, what's up?" No response. I walk closer, and I see he's passed out in a weed coma of some sort. But as my eyes wander down, I see the Croc Guy is, exposed. I'm frozen for a moment before I slowly just walk out of the room to not make a noise. Bro, what was that? I knew we should have never hung out with the croc dude. Oh my god, I need to tell everyone else about this right now. Once I got downstairs, I see Roderick freestyling and I freeze up again. Being as high as I was, I realized it would be pretty awkward to explain the situation to them. So alternatively, the plan was to naturally lead them into finding out themselves. But before I said anything, there was one absolutely fire bar Roderick said during his freestyle, which went along the lines of, "She didn't want to fuck me, but she should have." After that heat was spoken, I said, "Guys, let's all go upstairs." "Okay, but let's smoke more." So we do the bong rotation 3 more times before going upstairs, and I'm just hammered. I am smashed from these hits, dude. As we walk up and towards the room, Roman yells out, "Bro, we need to go to the pool. I want to see what the water looks like." So the great croc guy reveal was delayed while the 4 of us sit by Adam's pretty sweet indoor pool. But to be honest, because of all those extra bong rips, I kind of forgot at this point the trauma that I had seen earlier. Something had snapped inside of me just out of nowhere at this pool because I'd start talking to myself. "We're going to war, boys. This is gonna be the end." "What are you talking about, bro?" "We're in the cryopod, bro. We're freezing ourselves in the cryopod before we go to die at war on the fire planet." "You're on something else right now." "Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about." "Tell me, should I die for my family or for my country?" "Definitely the country, bro." "Yeah, definitely. When I'm out there, I don't have a family." I just created an entire headcanon in my mind that we were these space soldiers. I don't know where it came from, but it was funny. "We should leave the pool. Roman, that was a shit idea." As everyone left, I kind of lagged behind for 30 seconds or so before I got up. And because of that, I exited out of the wrong door because I'm directionally impaired. I ended up on the other side of the house in the living room. There was jazz playing, the Christmas tree was set up, dim lighting. This was the absolute peak environment to be in. So I sat down for a minute alone to take in the environment when my peace was suddenly interrupted by screaming at the other end of the house. Then I finally remembered that atrocity in Adam's bedroom that I forgot about, but I didn't bother to go over there since the situation I was in was just too good. So I just laughed about it alone from a completely different end of the house while my 3 friends just went through torture. I couldn't be bothered when I was this high and cozy. Eventually, I just kind of fell asleep and the boys handled it. I don't know what exactly they did to the croc guy, but whatever happened was surely a solution. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Studies show that men think about beating up on other dudes about 28 times daily. Thinking about it scientifically, this adds up to my everyday life. The situation of walking down the sidewalk when suddenly another dude starts walking down the same sidewalk in a conflicting fashion always has me thinking, shit, this dude's gotta be about 5'10" and 180 pounds from triangulating him from the distance of 20 meters away. But that's exactly 2 inches shorter than me. As he approaches, I'll quickly jab with my 2 extra inches of reach, immediately debilitating him on the ground. I'll kick his head to knock him unconscious, take his wallet, and walk away in a nonchalant fashion as if nothing happened. Then in reality, to just casually walk past the guy and do nothing as if this isn't how 100% of my human interactions in life have gone so far. It's like that same shit when a car drives past you at night and you imagine they're about to shoot you for no reason. It's natural instincts of violence. And an instinct of violence surely was the thing that befell my little friend group in the 7th grade. That's right, I got jumped when I was 12. It was a Friday afternoon and school had finally let off, and I was itching to let out my animal this weekend, so I hit up the boys. Except that I was 12 and I had the goddamn SpongeBob horn phone, so I needed my mom to text their moms and do all that slop. Soon enough though, the moms pulled through, and I had 2 very classic buddies headed over to my house so I could let out my animal. My doorbell rings, I pitter-patter over and swing that shit open. Roman's standing right there with a suitcase. Bro really came prepared for any possible situation. I mean, damn, a suitcase? But we start messing around on YouTube.com a little bit because this second individual is taking a little longer to show up to my abode. His late arrival will actually domino effect into his downfall because as me and Roman browse, we come across a very funny boy yelling about Sonic, and we want to show our other friends so badly. But in no time, my door rings, we pitter-patter over to the door, swing that shit open, and standing there is none other than this little shit named Alex. Alex was a fucked up kid. He would bring boxes of Mountain Dew into class and down them as if he isn't drinking fucking Mountain Dew. If vapes were around when I was 12, he would most definitely be chiefing those johns like nobody's business. So this evil child arrives at my house, and instantly me and Roman are like, you gotta see this kid on YouTube, man. He's so funny. We watch a few videos, have a few laughs, until Alex gets a massive, sinister grin on his face and says, guys, I want to film a prank video. Which is never what you want to hear from Alex, but we didn't have enough wisdom to know that at the time. Alex specifically wanted to film a Sonic prank at the park gone wrong. And to a 12-year-old, that sounds like the most hype idea on the planet. I also just so happened to have a Sonic plush backpack in my garage as well. So we found the backpack, put it on Alex, and headed over to the park. As we got to the park, we had full view of an empty playground, empty swings, but we had perfect sight of our victims, with 5 kids sitting on a park bench all together. So Alex takes out his iPhone to record the audio and voice memos, while Roman records the interaction on his Motorola. We honestly had no idea what Alex was about to do for his Sonic park at the prank gone wrong, but setting up the prank already had us laughing. So Alex actually starts to walk over to these kids, and as he approaches them, they all lock eyesight on him like hawks. Then Alex starts screaming the same nonsense the Sonic kid on YouTube said, like, you guys ruined the Sonic franchise! And the guys on the bench just look at each other like, the fuck is this kid talking about? So Alex keeps going on about this Sonic bit, and me and Roman are watching in awe. We cannot believe that he's actually seeing this through. A possible detail we may have forgot about pranks is that the camera is usually hidden and not 15 feet away in an open field. And I can't speak for this group of 5 children at the park, but I can assume an encounter with a screaming Sonic kid and 2 other kids recording from a distance may have been perceived as a disaster level threat to them. So these kids are like, fuck off, you damn nerds. But Alex holds his ground and keeps yapping, saying that was like their peace agreement. And since it was declined by Alex, they turned to violence. They sent out their smallest of the 5 to approach Alex like a little henchman being tasked to do dirty bidding. This kid jumps down from the park bench and a boss health bar appears as he runs to Alex. But Alex stood his ground once again. He said, nah, I'd win. Then almost immediately gets picked up by this kid and thrown onto the ground like boom. He's holding down Alex on the ground and bludgeoning his head repeatedly like, damn, was the Sonic kid really that much of a threat, dude? I had never experienced conflict in my life yet, so I hadn't truly realized he was experiencing blunt damage to his head. So I still watched in awe like Big Mouth Patrick. But at this point, Alex is completely out of character. He drops the prank entirely and starts fighting for his life. Now we let a respectful 1v1 play out for a minute in this park without interference, but it didn't take long for us to realize that this fight is not fair. Roman runs in and pulls this kid off at Alex because he's got that dog in him while I'm still watching from a distance, until one of the kid's buddies starts walking over like, bro, don't interfere, bro. But then bam, Roman hits him with a cheeky blow because Roman's got that dog with the Latino blood in his veins. All the while, bro is still committing to filming the prank. Roman has been holding the phone this whole time. So that kid backs off, we retrieve the battle-scarred Alex, and we're like, we gotta get out of here, guys. This shit got real. Alex can't hardly walk, so we gotta help him home while these kids are yelling at us like, you deserved that! Fuck off! That's why you're the strongest, little bro! While we take the walk of shame home. But this altercation wasn't over. We couldn't end on a loss. As we got home, we laid down the punished Alex in bed to revive his strength. In Fortnite terms, we brought his reboot card to the reboot van. The 3 of us were experiencing complete rock bottom mentally and had to make moves to heal. Except for Alex, because he couldn't move. And what better way to get back at bullies than firearms? So Roman and I scoured the garage for our most powerful Nerf guns and made the walk back. I don't know why the fuck we did Nerf guns because the bullets don't even hurt, but we make the journey back to the park strapped like a couple of honest working red-blooded blue-collar Americans. As we pull up, we start shooting this group of kids and it inflicts no damage to them and only causes the group to all charge at us. But what I didn't mention is that the Nerf Nerf guns were only a diversion to lure in the kids as we threw our secret carton of eggs at them. After a few failed eggs, we eventually hit one of the kids and he starts running away. Two more of them realized we had those shits on us and decided to turn around with the other kid, leaving only two more kids approaching us. These little boys were sprinting to beat up on us and rapidly started to approach, so I decided to fall back, but Roman held his ground. I was like, you need to fall back, but Roman didn't listen, because as the kids got right up to him, he flipped the Nerf gun around and hit one of them over the head with the goddamn handle of the shit. Like, damn, that kid got concussed, bro. Of course the other one retreated after that, and the two of us returned quickly home from war. We reported back to our fallen soldier and relayed the intel of our successful reconnaissance mission. And although through all the violence of that interaction, the most painful part of this day is that Roman started seriously stressing about hitting these kids on camera. I wanted him to upload the video so badly, but he decided to delete the prank we recorded because he didn't want his mom to find out what he did to these youngins. Since that whole event happened to me at the park, I was too afraid to go back there as a kid. I didn't want to one-man the park and end up with 5 little boys ending my life and stomping on my head and my vision becoming black for pranking them about Sonic. I guess the life lesson here is that if you give into your animalistic urges of violence, don't record them for an awesome YouTube prank, because there's a chance your mom might fuck, you know what, I'm just gonna use that take. Smoking alone can lead to so many different experiences. Unlike smoking with others, where the dynamic of the group's collective synergy determines the vibe, that vibe is up to you and whatever's going on up in that thick head of yours. In my case, my brain wants to do 5 different things all at once, and I end up led down strange rabbit holes. Just look at this clip I found once.
It's extremely creepy to think about the fact that Mario may be facing a purgatory where he has to face the loss of everyone he failed to protect.
Anyways, during my last late night solo session, I decided to track everything I did in my notes app. So here's what I wrote about the journey. Once I began my high, I realized, yo, I bought this projector the other day just for an occasion like this. So I turned it on and sat in my big chair. I did what I do every time, and I played Snowfall by One Heart on my Alexa. I had created a nice little setting for myself, so I sat back, looked at the ceiling, and existed in it. Then thoughts came over me. I started to have evil thoughts corrupting my mind. The demons were taking over quickly, so before they had a chance to overcome me, I went on my iPhone SE and opened YouTube. The first video that came up on my recommended was called The Quiet Sadness of Mario Galaxy. And after my demonic ordeal, I thought to myself, that's just like me, I gotta watch this one. But as I clicked on the video, I got an advertisement for Pizza Hut's new melts and instantly forgot about everything else. In this moment, all I wanted was to taste these delicious, cheesy new Pizza Hut melts. They looked so unequivocally delicious. All other foods paled in comparison to the melt's greatness. So I clicked on the ad, which sent me to a screen that asked me to make a Pizza Hut account to continue. I tried for like 10 minutes to make an account, to no avail, until I saw there was a guest option. But if you're a guest, you still can't order Pizza Hut. God damn it, I can't take this anymore, I'm using Postmates. And then I suddenly got an earth-shattering text message from Roman. Bad news, y'all. My parents are getting a divorce and my dad's in jail. Oh no. Do not fret. Little did I know this message was a bit of a troll. If I had just looked at the message above it that read, Roman, save my divorce voice recordings, I could have pieced it together, but I didn't. The big dog Cole was running a meme sending Roman voice recordings pretending to be his father, saying he was getting a divorce. But again, I didn't realize this. How did this happen? I need to call him. Bro, explain this to me. Yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. My dad's in jail. Really? Yep, he's in jail, rotting and divorced. Well, he didn't seem too bothered by that. Oh god, I'm so hungry. I need that Postmates. I had finally ordered the elusive melts, and while waiting for them, I decided to go back and watch that Mario video. I got probably 1 minute exactly into my viewing until my eyes cheekily shifted down to the first recommended video, being one of those house building process videos. This joint will hit right now, sheesh. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for my brain to start thinking something else. I bet I could build a house. Why don't I just build one right now? I'll play Minecraft and show this guy he could only dream to build a house as good as me. I turn on the PS4 to see the game disc wasn't in, and I'd have to get up from my chair to solve this problem. So I just sat there and did nothing. This allowed my demons, corruption, and evil sludge to coat my mind once again with its wickedness until pizza time! Pizza time! Forgetting the existentialism, I instantly ran to the door to acquire the payload. It seems it was just a little too fast though, because as soon as I opened the door, thanks. It was finally time. The moment we'd all been waiting for. All the blood, sweat, and tears were about to finally pay off in this massive climax of an event. This looks so good. Holy. I took the first bite of the most heavenly food on the face of the planet. It was exactly what the commercial had promised. This melt was quite literally busting in my mouth with every delicate and cheesy bite I took. I devoured the entire thing in roughly 1 minute on my beast mode savagery and then threw myself back into the big chair. I was finally determined this time to finish the Mario video. I wasn't about to let anything stop me. So as I unlocked my phone, I saw it was still on that house making video and I remembered Minecraft was waiting for me. But this time I was changed. After devouring such a great melt, I was feeling formidable and brave enough to get up and put Minecraft into the PS4. I perfectly executed the operation, loaded up a new world, and after 20 something minutes, I made myself the most generic wooden plank house imaginable. Feeling pretty good about this, I opened my phone again, disliked the house building video in an act of ownage and deviosity. Then I got back to my Mario video. Realizing how awesome I was, I felt I couldn't fully relate to the themes of this video as well as 30 minutes ago me would have. But regardless, I watched the whole thing and only paid attention to the visuals and the music since it was all very cute. It was just so nice seeing all of these bright colors and peering into the endless depths of space while listening to the music that by the end of it, I was feeling a tad sleepy. I stumbled my way back to my bed and lay down. As I was falling asleep, I felt as though I myself was drifting through space just like the Mario man himself. It was truly serene. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. Being high and alone is something I like, but you know what isn't? Addiction. And if you're watching this video, there's a 99% probability that we share the same addiction, and that's short form content. I go on these jaunts just about every non-consciously waking moment of my life. So this particular night of me being high and alone served to free me of this terrible addiction because every time I opened short form content throughout the night, I made myself eat an extra edible in an act of hopefully stopping my addiction. But it only kinda worked. Here's what happened. Right off rip, after eating this gummy, I cleaned my entire house. I was an unstoppable force of cleanliness off these gummies. But afterward, I quickly went back to my addiction. Not YouTube Shorts, I mean gambling.
This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna open a freaking case, dude. Holy crap. Oh, alright.
But I felt that if I was to truly free myself of addiction, I probably shouldn't make exceptions. So I ate another gummy after this as well. Then I instantly opened Snapchat and went onto the shorts because I'm not very smart, which meant another one down the hatch. I had already eaten 3 gummies, so I knew I needed a foolproof strategy that would ensure I wouldn't watch any more shorts. I decided to attack the problem at its roots, which is my attention span. I needed a way to fully reset my mind, and my idea to do so was a kind of strange approach in hindsight. The plan was to sit down in an empty room and just exist with myself and my drywall. I sat there and stared at drywall with as much mental focus as I could possibly exert for as long as I could. I would start to feel my focus wavering periodically. The only thing this ended up actually accomplishing though was giving myself a headache, which is ironically exactly what YouTube Shorts do as well. Alright, so the drywall strat, it's not working. Maybe I just watch full-length YouTube videos instead. Maybe that will fix me. This was a worse idea than the drywall. The YouTube app did that thing where it opens into shorts, so I start watching a handful of these before realizing what I've done. I ate another edible, but to be honest, YouTube Shorts had admittedly fed me some interesting slop this time around. I was watching a big, strong, shirtless, hot man climb a boulder, which got me in a real mood to watch more men climbing rocks. I was relentless with the men rock climbing videos. I watched Olympic climbing. I watched little men climbing. I watched big men climbing. All this climbing made me want to climb myself. So I bought a membership at a climbing gym. I haven't used it yet, but eventually whenever I do, I bet it'll be pretty cool. In an attempt to feel the triumphant victory of climbing rocks, I ended up climbing onto my bed from the floor, which isn't as impressive, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then out of left field, YouTube recommendation threw a real curveball at me. Teen Titans Go movie magic. This video hit the spot like nothing before. This show is just so goated. I was watching it so involved and entranced by the funniness and bright colors. Although I was really lost in the plot here. I didn't realize this while I was high, but this is actually like 5 videos strung together into one. Somehow I still managed to follow some kind of plot despite there not being one, which is something quite impressive. But this whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about how funny Robin was. This dude has to be the best written character of the millennium. I really came to realize the delicate intricacies of his character here. The only downside of this show is that it's bright and fast and really cool. Just like everything else, it was bad for my attention span. I needed to find some other method to fix myself. I search on Google how to slow attention span and find this article. After reading it, at the end, they recommend behavior therapy, which I don't need. So the article was shit and it didn't help me at all. Considering that the other things in this article were chewing gum and drinking water, I came to realize after reading this that I'm actually doing everything perfectly and optimally for fixing my attention span, if that's really all it takes. I guess I'm just left to live in torment and evil constantly. Afterward, I went down a massive YouTube rabbit hole, so I'll just give you some of the good ones before I went bye-bye sleep time for the night. And trust me, the last one will change something in you. So I watched how to turn a Lego man into meth. Then I watched pirate videos about how to be pirates. Those ones were pretty sweet. I learned how to become the Pope. I watched this video and legitimately did not listen to one word for the entire 30 minutes. I watched for an hour about the Napoleonic Wars. I've never given a squat about history at all in my life, so I don't know why I watched this, but it was interesting. I found out how to board an airplane. Then I watched a ton of these kid gaming videos and they went so hard. But the biggest video I watched was this one. This video is something special. Anyways, subscribe. Smoking alone for the first time can be a daunting task. A little inexperience can make you truly fear you'll smoke the grass wrong and end up in the shadow realm. And a part of that's true. If you never smoked alone before, you gotta understand it leaves you susceptible to your demons more than any other scenario. In Fortnite terms, running solos can really feel like you queued solo squads with the amount of demons you gotta fight off. Truthfully, I'm not one to talk though, because the first time I smoked alone, I did it out a goddamn banana. I was truly struggling back in the day. This particular instance of my first time, I think it was my 4th time ever smoking weed in my life. I came into it so inexperienced, I didn't even consider something could go wrong. It was the day after I had some boys over. We had gone questing for Zaza the night prior, and when the next day came, I had a little leftover nugget in my name. So once they all left my abode, I got a real sinister and evil idea inside of me. I got the idea to smoke it on my lonesome. The only issue, I was so new to weed, I didn't even have a method to smoke it. I went on Google and looked up homemade ways to smoke weed, and that's how the banana thing happened. Then came the second problem all low-level Za smokers encounter, and that's masking the smell. And to be honest, I don't really have a very keen nose. My sense of smell is kind of fucking bad, but I just turned my fan on full and blew the smoke out the window. It was really the best I had. I won't lie though, the banana was goated. The banana was a little too goated because I ended up smoking way more of that razzmatazz hop skiddly do than I thought the banana was capable of. I expected some janky doohickey that hardly worked, but the banana method was truly valid. I only took like 2 to 3 hits since my tolerance was so abysmally small. But even from that, I started to see God. The chronic lung pain started to settle in immediately. It was so bad, I was praying to God, like, please, Lord, free me of this pain. I didn't mean to smoke this weed. It was an accident. I really don't know how this happened. I was in recovery from this for like half an hour. I straight up thought it would never end and my high would be ruined because of it. So once I healed, I went on TikTok to rot myself from the inside out. But in my scrolling, there was one video that really stood out to me. It was specifically this one image from the video of a Lego Star Wars man. I stared at this picture for like 20 minutes, completely dumbfounded and in awe. I couldn't comprehend this Lego man, and it just didn't look right to me. So I did my research and watched the entirety of Lego Star Wars Episode 3 until precisely 12 minutes and 8 seconds into the video when I saw him. This is not the same as this, and it fucked me up. Immediately, I called Roderick like, bro, they fucking changed him, bro. What are you talking about? This Lego guy, he's not the same. They changed him. You have to come over right now, dude. I'll show you. So Roderick heads over to my house while I cannot comprehend why they changed a Lego man. He pulls up and I get the text that he's outside, and suddenly my brain does the Vine boom sound effect. Wait a minute. If I gotta go get Roderick, that means I gotta go through my house. That means I could be seen by my very own mother. I looked in the mirror to do a quick checkup, and bruh, my eyes looked like Squidward when he said, I'm all out of money. And I had no idea if I smelt or not. So I sprint downstairs as fast as I can, acquire young Roderick at the door, and take him into my room. Almost immediately, he's like, hey bro, it smells like weed in here. And my brain goes Vine boom sound effect with extra reverberation and bass boosted. Ain't no way, bro. Please say you're joking, bro. I can't have that be the truth. Nah, dude, it smells like weed. I start to panic. I don't know how potent the smell is, and I don't know if the smell had leaked out when I left my room. Now the objective has changed. It's no longer about Lego men anymore. It was about getting rid of the smell as to avoid getting a beating. I showed Roderick the banana, so he took it from me like, alright, this makes sense. The source of the smell has got to be coming from this banana. So what do we do about it? Give me a lighter. Oh, alright. And Roderick starts smoking out the banana, not before eating the whole thing. Eating that banana is just downright awful. Alright, dude. Now the source of the smell is inside of me. So as long as I don't open my mouth very much, it can't get out. Oh, wow, bro. That's genius. I didn't know you had this much intelligence. Hey, I'm not done cooking yet. We gotta get the smell out of the atmosphere now. The atmosphere? Yeah, dude, the atmosphere. Go get a vacuum. Go get a vacuum. So I run and get the vacuum, then bro turns on the vacuum nozzle and starts attempting to suck the weed smell out of the bedroom's atmosphere. Wait. That vacuum is too loud. It's gonna bring suspicion to the noise. Oh, damn. Good thinking. And in an attempt to soundproof my bedroom, me and Roderick take my bed mattress off the frame and push it up against the door. Once we had thoroughly sucked all stench from the atmosphere, Roderick was like, alright, we gotta vacuum the floor now because the odor can trap itself in the carpet, so let's suck it out. So then we vacuumed my entire bedroom. Our soundproofing was apparently not good at all because all of a sudden my mom opens my door to see what all the noise was, and the mattress falls on Roderick. What's all this noise? Oh, you know, I'm just cleaning my room. Are you okay, dude? I think my rib punctured my lung. Okay, but we should be all good with the smell now. This was perfect because now I could show Roderick how they changed the way Lego General Grievous looks in Lego Star Wars. So I showed him the difference, and bro didn't really care. He never played Lego Star Wars, so he didn't really have any reaction. After that anticlimactic reveal, he just headed home, and I was back to being high alone. But since we had cleaned my room, I won't lie, I felt like a king. I felt like I was living in the highest echelon of society. So I took a whole shower for like 30 minutes in complete bliss. Once I was done, I got out and looked out my window to enjoy the view to see Roderick's car was still outside my house. It turns out he forgot he drove to my house and he was walking home this entire time. So I called Roman to get Roderick to take him to my house so he can take his car home. So we go through with the plan until Roderick gets back to my house and he's like, I'm high, I can't drive. So we call Adam to drive over and bring Kevin to drive Roderick's car home. In the meantime, me, Roderick, and Roman all go up to my bedroom, and as soon as Roman steps in, he's like, it smells like weed in here. Are you joking? After all the atmospheric sucking we did, it still smells like weed. So Roman did a little scouting around until he finds little bits of weed all over my bathroom counter. It turns out Roderick had just spilled them all out before eating the banana and forgot that they were out in the open. So Adam and Kevin come to my house, and as Kevin gets ready to drive Roderick back home, he realized he doesn't know how to drive a stick shift. So we need Adam now to drive Roderick's car since he doesn't know how to drive a stick shift, and they did a whole thing that I completely tuned out because I'm high and can't mentally comprehend their plan. As I'm watching them try and figure this all out, I'm just thinking, damn, if they never changed the way that Lego guy looked, none of this would be happening right now. So since I just kind of tuned this whole thing out, I decided to sneakily turn around and just walk back into my house while this chaos is transpiring outside. Even though at the heart of the cause it was my fault, I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. And as I went into my room, I won't lie, I still smelt the weed at this point. But I couldn't really bother to care about that either. I was just so mentally fried and I was so high. I decided I would just watch funny videos on my iPhone SE until I passed out. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. Here's a big one. You people have wanted this. My first time getting high, as it goes for most people, was a crazy experience. Now, I was at my friend Roderick's house. He's a classic guy. He's in just about every story that I tell at this point. Roderick's house was not like any other house. He lives in luxury. A luxury that a poor, under the poverty line boy like me will flip his shit when he sees. I mean, he's got a piano as you walk into his house. He's got a projector as a TV in his living room. This is the shit you see LA YouTubers live in. He lives in the Incredibles mansion. So Roderick was the weed expert that was going to show me his ways, and I was his apprentice. And this wasn't just my first time smoking weed. I should mention it was also my friend Roman's. The three of us were all sleeping over together this night inside Roderick's nice-ass house. Roderick was the real homie this night because he said, we can't just smoke a wax pen on both of your guys' first time. We gotta get our hands on the real stuff. What we had to do first was acquire the weed because we didn't have anything at this point. So we were going through the process of asking everyone that we knew on Snapchat if they knew somebody that sells weed until we finally landed on one guy. We pull up to his place and it's not scary at all. But this is my first drug deal. I'm anxious in my mind. What if this dude's got a gun? What if he kills us in cold blood? But then this dude comes out of his house with these big ass goggle glasses. He looked like a real dork. This motherfucker was a certified bozo. We could have given this dude a wedgie for the weed. Once we drove off with the weed, we all just burst out laughing because we were expecting the exact opposite of this guy. We had acquired our first weed. Roman and I were just marveling at its beauty. We felt the weed, we smelt the weed, but most importantly, we wanted to smoke the weed. Before we stopped back at Roderick's, we drove to the gas station and he was like, I'll be back in a minute. This won't take long. He comes back with a bottle of Sprite, a pack of gum, a pencil, and a straw. Yo, what is this all for, bro? You'll see, bro. You will see. So we drive back to Roderick's place, run to his bedroom, and assemble all of our stuff. Roman and I just sit back while Roderick works his magic. He drinks the whole Sprite bottle, takes a gum wrapper, and wraps it over the top. He pokes some holes in the wrapper, and then he stabs the side of the bottle and sticks a straw in. And just like that, we had our own homemade bong made. It was a pretty jank way to smoke weed, and it didn't work all that effectively, but we had to make do with what we had. We were on limited resources. So we smoked out the Sprite bottle. And I don't know what was in this weed, but it affected Roman and I in a way weed has never before since then. In my going for a walk on mushrooms video, I mentioned how the mushrooms made my vision like in Minecraft, how your FOV can increase. In my experience, that's pretty usual for mushrooms, but this was the one and only time that I've had this effect solely from weed. And it wasn't just me. Roman had the same experience with his vision. It was so weird. I don't know what was in this goddamn weed, but it had us looking at things crazy. I was so goddamn giggly too that I just couldn't get enough of these guys. I laughed at everything. It didn't stop. After you smoke a good amount of times, I feel like the giggles eventually just go away. But the first time I had the laughs. Then the fabled munchies kicked in and we had no remorse for the kitchen. We started tearing through everything like savages. There was a fruit bowl in the middle of the kitchen, so I went, "Don't mind if I do," and wiggled my little fingers. I picked out an apple and there was a fly on the apple, and I don't know why, but this fly scared me. I mean, I don't fuck with bugs. So I threw the apple, I projectile tossed it across the living room, and it hit right into a framed painting and shattered the glass. I don't feel good about this even today, but luckily the painting itself wasn't damaged and his parents were not home at the time. It was fucking loud. They would have known what happened. So we started to panic, but thankfully Roderick is the real homie because he vacuumed up the glass for us. Lord knows, neither of our asses could have functioned a vacuum in our current state. And by this time, I started fucking up the Pop-Tarts, and I just forgot about what happened. I wasn't joking when I said we were savages. We were on a real ruffian shit. Roman went back to the room first with his snacks, and as I followed behind him, I entered the room to see that he was unclothed. He was only wearing his undies. He was sitting on Roderick's bed, eating a family bag of chips and watching YouTube videos. I feel like it's almost a universal experience where people smoke weed for the first time and search videos to watch while high on YouTube. And the same videos always just come up too. I know that you have seen this cartoon before. This video had us mesmerized. It was beautiful. We went on a YouTube binge for like over an hour or so, and I couldn't tell you how it happened, but we eventually ended up on Diary of a Wimpy Kid YouTube. We were just enjoying some classics like Greg Heffley is a Sociopath. After we got bored of YouTube, we put on some lo-fi beats, and Roderick had this light projector that put stars all over the walls, and we fell into a slumber. I was paranoid the following week or so because I thought his parents would have noticed the painting frame that I broke, but they never really did. Because of me, there's a painting with no glass in his house, and to this day, nobody has really noticed it at all. So that was the story of the first time I smoked weed. Okay, bye-bye. Encounters with the police are always anxiety-inducing, even if you're innocent. You never know if you're gonna get shot in the head on site with their guns because they're feeling a little bloodthirsty and want to kill that day. If you've ever had an encounter with the police when you've got something to hide though, when you got dirty hands and you see those lights, you go into fight or flight. It could very well be the end. Now, I had a little cop altercation recently and it had me shitting myself backwards, so I thought I'd tell the story today because it was very goddamn scary. So I'm chilling with my man Roderick and we gotta head over to my boy, we'll call him Adam. We had to go over to Adam's house because I had left a little jar of mushrooms over there the other night. I had to go over there to pick them up because he was gonna go out of town the next day, so we drove over to his place and we ended up going for a little walk while we were over there. I won't lie though, during this walk through the late night suburbs, we were partaking in some gas, some weed, some za, some goody good. You know, we went around for a bit, it was fun, but by the time we got back to his house, we wanted a little more walking. We were fiending for the walk. walk. We decided we would drive over to the college campus and peruse around that place for a little bit. Now, I wouldn't trust myself to drive a car while high. I know people are about to say that's irresponsible, but this is Roderick driving the car we're talking about. He's high just about every waking moment of his existence. He's good. If he couldn't drive a little high, he wouldn't be able to function as a modern human. And the streets are empty past 9 p.m. where I live, so you'd be hard pressed to even find another human person. So I got my little mushrooms and I was going to put them in the glove box, but my dumbass couldn't figure out how to open it, so I decided to put it in the tunnel console. This seems like a pointless detail, but trust me, it's important. As we were driving to campus, we saw some dude getting pulled over, and then we saw another dude getting pulled over, and then we saw the police lights light up right behind us. Adam was lighting up a joint at the time, and we were also all high, so our hearts sank. But it turns out he was only pulling over the car behind us. We had seen 3 people getting pulled over in the span of like a 10-minute car drive. It was crazy. I guess they just needed to hit that quota, so they were pulling over anyone on the road. We went on our little walk, and as we were walking through the campus, we saw another person being pulled over. This was just absurd. I can guarantee these people probably did not deserve to be pulled over. There isn't that much illegal activity that happens here. As we finished the walk, we started heading to my place since I lived the closest to campus. But as we were driving through the last light to my place, not even a minute away from the destination, Roderick drives through a yellow and the goddamn police come after us for driving through the yellow light. It was the most clearly yellow light, bro. So we pull over and we're like, holy shit, we're fucked. We're all high and we just got pulled over. And in this moment, I remembered that we have mushrooms in the car. We are in possession of illegal drugs, and they're sitting right in the tunnel console that's broken anyways and doesn't have a top to it. So if the cop walked over, he'd just see it sitting there in the middle. So as the cop is walking over to the car, the best thing I can think of is to take the mushrooms and throw them under my seat. Imagine if I had put them in the glove compartment like I originally was going to do. He would have asked for the registration and the drugs would have just been right there. Luckily, I was a stupid, silly little guy this night, and I couldn't figure out how to open it. He comes up to my window, even though I'm the passenger, and he shines this flashlight right in my face, and he's like, "You ran a red, man." He asked the usual questions like, are you under the influence and do you have weapons? Roderick says no to both of these, even though he's high and has knives in his car. I don't even know why he lied about the weapons, dude. He just did. So he goes back to his car for like 20 minutes while he checks the registration, and the 3 of us are just sitting in silence the whole time. The air was thick. It was a loud silence. He comes back to the car and just lets us go. So we head out scared shitless. I get home and I just go to bed immediately and hit the in my bed. I don't know why the cops were so active this night, but I guess it was cool that we didn't get a ticket or caught with drugs. If you take anything from this story, I would take that you shouldn't drive through yellow lights around cops because they will use your life for a quick bag. Back in high school, the struggle for just a smidgen of change would lead people down unspeakable paths. I'll admit, back in the day, the grind for a pretty penny got to me. I saw bad things and did bad things I'd never forget. Today, I'm here to share how I slung drugs out on the courtyard, created an empire, and how that empire was suddenly pulled from right under my feet. Like anything ever, this operation was conceived out of an idea that sprouted out from desperation. A desperation me and the big man Cole were facing. Financial insecurity in the face of college. We wanted a little more bread before we went off to uni, and almost like fate, we had an idea come to us from pure happenstance. It was a sleepover night with the 2 of us. 9 p.m. was approaching. We had to be up by 5 a.m. for gym time, and we weren't tired. We consulted the melatonin gummy jar about this issue, and we both ate like 4 of these gummies. We lay down in our separate beds, and once the effects started to hit, we realized the gym may not be happening. Bro, are you still awake? Yeah, bro, I feel high. Me too. Something that must be understood is that the chemistry between me and Cole creates one of the greatest minds for business. We had realized, dude, we don't need to buy edibles to get high. We just need melatonin. This then advanced to, if we don't need to risk buying illegal drugs, then there's no risk in selling these either. And then we have an entire school of customers that want weed but can't safely acquire it. And finally, we need to sell these to the freshmen. If we could trick one high school freshman into believing these melatonin gummies were edibles, he'd tell his friends, the business would grow naturally, so would our pockets, and we would have a solid amount of money when starting college. When the next day of school came around, we had a plan. All that was needed was a freshman to take the bait. During lunch, we both sit at a table beside a group of freshman kids, positioning ourselves back to back with another table. We start talking. Man, I cannot believe we got all of those edibles. I know, right? They hit so hard, bro. They felt so good. Yeah, that was like a life-changing experience. I think everyone has to experience this stuff. We were clearly talking loud enough for this table to hear us, but no one was biting. We had to take a more active approach. I leaned back and asked, hey man, have you ever done edibles before? No, why? I got a ton of edibles the other day and I'm looking to sell. You wanna buy? Let me think about it. This kid talks with his table for the rest of lunch until the bell rings. As everyone's walking away, we stop him and ask, so you interested, little bro? Kind of, but I don't have any money on me. This was an inevitability we foresaw. So I hand him 2 melatonins. How about these ones are on the house? You can do it with one of your friends. Let me know how it goes. And just like that, we got the ball rolling on what would eventually secure us future financial stability. After about a week, this kid comes back to us saying how awesome it was, and he and his friend got so high they passed out. He wanted more, and this time he brought money, so we sold them to him $15 a pop. As the school year went on, word spread. Eventually, we had a whole section of the freshman year class hitting us up on the daily for these melatonins. But while our pockets grew, our hearts would shrink. The two of us had a real friendship that grew with the original kid, and he had no idea. That bond was built on a foundation of lies and deceit. We had to really ponder the ethical justifications of our scam. Was lying to all of these people justified if we were providing them with fulfilling experiences? Was ignorance truly bliss, and did they deserve to know the truth? It felt wrong to leave for college, abandoning all these freshmen behind in a haze of lies. They deserved to know, so me and Cole had the plan to tell them on the last day of school, and we'd use the money they gave us to buy real edibles for them and make up for everything we did. It was a solid plan that would lift the baggage off of our souls, so as to avoid carrying this burden throughout our lives. But things did not go as planned. Spring break hit, and so did COVID. We never got to see those kids again, and they still don't have a clue what happened to them. All we can say for sure is they were happy. The smiles on their faces as we deceived them were always a bittersweet sight. And because of a global pandemic, despite the burden we bear, those smiles will never die. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Many moons ago, when I was merely a supple young weed smoker, I was ignorant of the powers Thanksgiving Day holds. When the abundant load of yummy food comes face to face with a growing boy cracked off 2 guaps in a blinker, things get ugly. The gravy, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, good big Lord above. Do not get me started on them cobblers. Dear gods, I will bust. But along with the excellence of Thanksgiving feasts, the price you pay is the difficulty of communication. With likely most of your family around, the danger levels are high. One slip up and you'll get the belt in front of everyone and have to sleep outside in the doghouse while it rains. Luckily, during my first rodeo video, I developed strategies and tactics and moves to avoid my high being detected. So here's the story of that. It was the big day and all my family were just about prepared to eat the yummy food. As a pubescent gamer boy, high schooler dork loser with nothing going for me, I wasn't downstairs with them. I was locked in my bedroom, grinding Destiny with the only distant family member that we all know. It was the cousin, the top G of Thanksgiving. He hits me with the classic, "Hey, let's go for a little walk before we eat." But my arrogant ass didn't know this code at the time, so I'm like, "No, I want to keep playing Destiny." So he shows me he's got that stizzy on him. Big cuz came to my crib with the strap, and I go primal. Ooh, gimme. Bro, I need the weed so bad. I haven't smoked in 3 millennia. Alright, let's go on that walk then. We go downstairs, walk past my entire family, and I'm thinking, oh, they have no clue what I'm gonna do. Alright guys, we're gonna go on a quick walk. Yeah, a real quick one. We head down a few blocks, and cuz starts chafing the stizzy blinker after blinker like he weddy on the check. Like he's got 50 perks on the line and he's down a guap. No remorse for his soul and humanity. Bro smoked himself hollow like I've never seen before. After a display like that, I felt the need to do at least something that holds a candle to it. So I hit the stiz on God mode and I get sent out of my body. All that training had paid off because I sucked the souls out of this pen like a Division 1 football player. We have to get home since dinner was soon, but as we head back, I can't walk straight or keep my mouth shut. I'm laughing at literal nothing, staring down at asphalt and laughing. My cousin tries to bring me back into sanity by looking me in the eyes and saying, "You gotta get a grip, man. You can't be like this in front of everyone. It'll be way too obvious." "Nah, you got it all wrong. I got this. Trust me. When we get in there, I won't slip up." As we walk through the front door, I get hit with the real-life mental version of the Vine boom sound effect. I was too high to think through the danger I had walked myself into, and I knew I could hardly speak. With no choice, I sit down at the dinner table and thought to myself, alright, I need to create a plan for when I'm asked a question. I can't take too long to respond or it's sus, but because the weed, I can't think fast enough to actually respond normally. So I need to use filler sounds and words to make up for my brain lag. I need to prove I'm sober by speaking well-articulated sentences no high person is expected to think. And to make sure they don't follow up, I'll start eating before they have a chance to. The food rolls out and we all start eating, and the antagonist of Thanksgiving shows himself, the uncle. He asks me, "So how's school?" And I initiate the plan. First, I start with the filler so I can think. Then I threw out my high IQ response. "You know, school is lovely. I love school and learning. I've actually done all of my classes." With no hesitation, I start stuffing my face like I've never done before. I'm not even eating. I am inhaling the food. "I need to use the bathroom." I hardly walk to the toilet and sit on it for like 10 minutes so this all blows over. As I come out, my cousin and I make eye contact. I could tell this was just as bad for him as it was for me. I'm just thinking about the Irwin speech from Attack on Titan to give me strength to get through this dinner. The food was positively bussin' though. The joys of eating all this food easily made up for the few times I was spoken to. The two of us eat a metric Drake ton of food this dinner, and I feel on the urge of death. Once it was all over, I ran back up to my bedroom to grind Destiny more. I felt like Luffy after a party, bro. It was on another level. Anyways, smoke weed on Thanksgiving. That's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Target is an amazing place, isn't it? I don't know what it is about this grocery store, but somehow I just always find myself going here even when I have absolutely no reason to be in Target. It's just the superior Walmart. I walk into Walmart and it's like a wave of depression just hits me. No one wants to be there. The floors are all gray. It's terrible. But on the other hand, I walk into Target and the exact opposite happens to me. Maybe it's the floor colors. That could really be the secret. So I love Target, but that's just when I'm sober. If I smoke and then I go into a Target, It's just a different story. This is my happy place. Jumping over a ball and entering those doors, I become unstoppable. I don't know if your Target is like this, but most of the ones that I've been to have a Starbucks as soon as you walk in. So I'll be going up to the Starbucks as soon as I walk in there, and I'll pull the "Can I get and I just can't help myself to eat one of those ooey gooey delicious little pastries they sell there. I end up buying one of those caramel ribbon crunch frappuccinos and drink the whole thing while I'm in the store with no regard to the impending diabetes that I'm going to have. I end up getting super high and cracked off this caffeine, and I've just started. I just walked through the doors and I'm fucked. I don't know if other people experience this, but whenever I'm in a public grocery store while I'm high, I just walk around with a big smile on my face and I can't control it. I don't want to be walking around with this big ass grin. I try and resist it, but it just can't be stopped, which becomes a problem because when you're high in public, you don't want people to know you're high. Me especially. Even if I'm chilling at home and I'm high, I try and keep it from everyone. It's just like an instinct. I have no reason to do this. I just kind of do. So I'll just be in Target feeling like I'm the most suspicious guy on the planet because of this big ol' smile. To be honest, I probably am. I mean, people see me, they perceive me. I probably am sus as hell. And that's why you gotta wear a mask when you go out high. That's a little wisdom for you. Despite being an adult man, the first place I'm gravitated to is, of course, the Lego aisle. I know I'm not gonna buy any of these Lego sets too. They're way too expensive, but there's a strange enjoyment in just staring at them. Maybe I'm imagining me having them and that's enough to satisfy me, or it could be that I'm reminiscing on the long lost childhood wonders these blocks once gave me. Such a pure joy that could never be recreated in my current broken state. But either way, I just like looking at the different Lego sets Target has. And I always find myself back in the exercise equipment section as well. You know, where they have those weird curvy sticks? I have no idea what these are supposed to do or what they are, but I always pick it up and just mess with it. You know, I'll poke my back a few times with it and just put it down, as confused as I was the last time I tried doing this. And it's always a Target tradition to try and curl the 40-pound dumbbells. You just can't resist the masculine urge to curl the Target 40-pound dumbbell. I'll be in the aisle getting an entire workout in. And don't even get me started on the big ball bin. I be bouncing them big balls through the halls. I just be bouncing them balls all I want. No one can stop me from bouncing the big balls. I never buy them though. I don't know one person that's ever bought in these balls, but you always gotta play with them. And then I conclude my awesome 20-minute Target trip of the day, still high, just with a lot of sugar and caffeine in my system. My hands are still empty because I don't ever buy shit. Call me the menace of Target. I just be messing with things. Now that I think about it, I really just do fuck with Target a lot. When I used to live in college dorms, I didn't want to pay for a parking pass, so I just parked at Target and left my car there overnight for like an entire year, and no one stopped me despite the sign saying that you can't park at Target. And another message, thank you for 10,000 subscribers. Jesus fucking Christ, like this just happened so goddamn fast. I don't know where it came from, but you know, I'm about it. So what I want to do for 10,000 subs is a Q&A video. So what you can do is either just comment on this video a question, or I made a community post. You'll probably have more luck getting it answered if you reply on the community post rather than the comments, but you know, just go ahead and do that. Okay, bye. Once you enter the demon realm of young adult life, the dynamic of Halloween shifts from candy time to party time. But that is not a memo I accepted. I still wanted to go out and collect some candy booty. I didn't want any of that booty, you know what I mean? So during my freshman year of college as a dormitory resident, I had my eyes on a different prize than my colleagues. So I'm sitting in my dorm room alone on Halloween, dressed as Batman with a fire in me to make something funny happen. There's this girl that lives down the hall I kinda knew, so my plotting started with her. My awesome plan plan was to go to her dorm room door and trick or treat. I'd get a few laughs, maybe a piece of candy, and I'd call that a W. So I knock on the door like,
I am Justice. Trick or treat.
"Oh my god, you're so funny. I've got just a thing for you." She gives me a Skittles bag, like, "Don't eat too many." But I'm just popping off. I had been living impoverished off PB&J sandwiches the past month, so this was essentially gold. Before I leave, she adds, "I'm having a little get together in a minute, so if you want to come over, you can." So I'm like, sure, I'll go over, knowing damn well I'm not going back to that place. I got my loot and that's all I wanted. I get back to my room and I'm snacking on these delights, probably watching Hunter x Hunter. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I'm really high right now. The fuck? On closer inspection, these were edible Skittles, but I mean, they hardly show it. I was like, why'd she give these to me? Honestly, I was fine with eating edibles since I didn't have anything better to do, but I just thought the situation was weird. So I go back to her room to see if she meant to give these to me, and as I knock on the door, she answers it like, "Oh my god, you came, come on in, come on in." I had forgotten she had a little get together I was invited to, and I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I went in, and when I saw this place, this was not how I imagined her little get together at all. It had to have been some kind of sorority party because there was like 10 girls essentially wearing lingerie, and then me dressed as Batman. They were drinking, playing games, and I'm completely out of my element and pretty high. I'm a married man. I can't be put in situations like this. So I'm like, yo, this party is epic. I'm gonna go get some water. I fill up my glass and just sit at the kitchen counter alone, trying to think of the quickest way to get out of here. I text the big man Adam to come to the door and get me out of here. I give him the room number and I say to just open the door and ask for Batman. But I didn't get a moment to see if he replied because this girl comes up to me and sits at the counter. "Hey, what are you doing over here?" And this is when I made a decision I look back on as highly questionable. I was new to college and I didn't want to taint my name so soon and be known as the Batman guy that sat alone at the party. So what I do is I go full Batman mode and protect my identity by speaking like Batman.
I'm just thinking about criminals, you know.
Haha, that's funny. You should come over and play games with us. It may have not been the best decision, but I ate a lot of those Skittles, and these people were drunk enough I could speak like Batman all I want without repercussions. This girl takes my arm, pulls me over to a beer pong setup, and hands me a ball. I didn't want to drink. I'm already zooted beyond belief, so I'm aiming between the cups so that the ball just hits the edge and bounces away. And this whole time, I'm just hoping that Adam got my text and would come through the door and save me. The more I miss, the more these people are chanting for me to get a ball in. Eventually, one of the balls land, I gotta drink it, and they're chanting for me to get more. So I do one more, and then they chant again for me to do one more. They just don't want me to stop drinking and getting these balls in the cups. I realized that this is just gonna keep happening forever, and I can't keep this up anymore. So I use the tried and true stalling method.
I need to go to the bathroom.
I check my phone to see if Adam's on the way, and I stand in this bathroom for like 5 minutes until I got out because I don't want to be in there for a suspiciously long time. I walk out and see the girl that invited me here. I walk up to her and I'm like, "Yo, did you know those Skittles were edibles?" "Yeah, I know you like weed, so I thought you'd like that." Huh. I guess that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, the door busts open. Adam is dressed as an Among Us and shouts, "I need Batman!" I'm like, "Duty calls." And the two of us sprint out of the party and back to my room laughing the entire way. Bruce Wayne was safe and back in the Batcave and could watch anime all he wanted without the distraction of sorority girls. I repaid Adam by giving him the rest of my Skittles and I pass out into a weed coma. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Smoking the grass is unironically my career at this point. So you'd think I could hold my own against a little something, right? But this New Year's, I had a man of very high stature and business class offer me some za from his world. And it was like nothing I had ever done up until that very moment. But like I said, it was New Year's. The whole gang was downtown following Roderick around like little baby ducks because he supposedly had a surprise for all of us. us. So once we all get to the square where the ball drop was going to happen, he leads us all into an office building and up this elevator. Are we even supposed to be here, dude? I don't care. I literally was not asking you. Bro, get me out, sus. Get me out. Gentlemen, trust me. We're good. Now collect yourselves and become presentable. We get to the top floor and step into this massive office building overlooking downtown. To my side, there's a table covered with tons of different drinks. Yo, what is this place? It's my parents' office, lads. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him. It's big man Roderick's very own father. But he explains to the group that throughout the night, all of his lawyer and business friends would be coming through, and that we were all welcome to as many drinks as we wanted. So the boys go feral. Let's go! Hey, give me that. Thank you. You want my vape, bro? All right. Oh, God. I miss her. I miss her, bro. You know, sharing always makes me feel better. Do not fret. Cameron was the sober man that would be taking us all home this night. We were all being very responsible. So we all start opening the office windows and yell nonsense at random pedestrians. Before we know it, the place starts to fill with lawyers. The group breaks up, and in the presence of all of these high-value individuals, I taught some guy's wife how to floss. 10 p.m. was closely approaching, which meant that the first ball drop was about to happen before the real one at midnight. We all link up, look out the window, and despite this not even being the real New Year's celebration, the streets are filled with swarms of people. As we all marvel at this horde, we see a familiar face standing outside. It was our boy Tony. We need to go out there. So we all run down the stairwell and out the back exit, but as we left the door, we ran past one of the big dog lawyers that I had recognized seeing upstairs, and he was smoking something. So I made a mental note before joining the crowd. We gave Tony monumental greetings until ball drop time was about to happen. We all run to the center of the crowd, bust down excellent style for a few minutes until returning back to the lawyer office, stench and sweat covered from all of that bussing. Back up the elevator, I lead the squad into a small conference room and explain to them, boys, I think there's weed on the premises. I want to get my hands on it before the real New Year's event happens. So we start scouting around the office looking for the guy I had seen earlier. We ended up finding him still at the same spot prior, and as we walked out, the legend offered us some. So we all, minus Cameron, smoked with this lawyer, and before it really hit us, it was quite chill. So once we had our fun, it was back up to the office to devour the sandwich rolls and prepare for battle at midnight. Roman and Roderick start devouring every last crumb like savage berserkers, but I'm feeling a little differently. Yo, guys, that lawyer stuff is really hitting diff right now. How do you feel? I'm gonna go to that conference room again. So I'm sitting in the conference room alone. On the floor, I find a bunch of strings and start assorting them from longest to shortest. These two women walk into the room like, what are you doing? I'm playing with strings to stay alive. And that's all I remember out of that interaction. There was this dude that also came in as well, and he talked to me for like 5 minutes, but I have no memory of a word he said. Eventually, Cameron and Adam came into the room. Bro, we lost Roman and Roderick. Lamau. Do you need to go home, dude? Yeah. All right, bro, we'll try and call them. And about 18 phone calls were made to Roman's phone, and not one was answered. Cameron and Adam decided they'd face the New Year's storm out in the streets to look for the two, while I stayed up in the office, so they moved out. It didn't take long for me to get bored of sitting in this conference room, so I get up and leave to look out the window and watch the ball drop from there. As I'm staring out this window, I eventually do see Roman and Roderick out there going crazy in the square. I watch them for a few minutes until Roderick walks away to get drinks from a bar or something. So Roman's out there all alone. Then there's this big middle-aged dude pushing his way through the crowd of people for I don't know why. Roman was in big man's trajectory, so once he eventually shoves Roman shoves him back. And then this dude punches Roman so hard that he falls to the ground, and the police detain the unhinged big man. After seeing that, I thought, well, I should let them know I found Roman. So I walk down calling Cameron, telling him to meet me at the office entrance. As the both of us link, it's about a minute until New Year's, and everyone around us is going bananas, so we just stay put not to lose each other. Once midnight struck and the ball dropped, I just stared up into the sky completely unmoving and honestly feeling nothing. That za had me a stoic. So where's Roman? I lost him. Damn. Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you home, bro. You're clearly sloshed. I'll find them later. So my handsome little savior drives me back to my place. I get inside, and as I'm taking my stuff out of my pockets, I realized I still have Roderick's vape, but I didn't care and instantly passed out. And if you want to know what happened with Roman after this dude punched him and what went down once I left, you're gonna have to wait 3 months for when Roman makes his own video, because I don't know what happened. Boo-hoo. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything. And sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing. So you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought. And right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how 1 feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, God damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third-person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body, but somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs, and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The three of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, "Bro, are you okay? How do you feel?" So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. "Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this, but I need water first." So I get my water, and surprisingly the three of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the three of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, "Bro, I'm so hungry." And my high ass replied, "Oh, me too, don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates." And I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these three guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real-life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different burritos were delivered to my house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were 2 extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Every single day of my miserable life, I smoke a very unhealthy amount. And when I inevitably whisk myself away into my sweet little dreams, they always turn out to be actual fever dreams. It'll either be the most delightful, confusing, or downright heinous activities my mind conjures up deep into the night. The complete relaxation and peace of mind being high gives me while falling asleep is worth the gamble I always inevitably take in my dreams. So I've recently journaled some of my more out-of-pocket dreams I've had while high, so I can expose my evil subconscious to the public. I'm not afraid to say it. I love monkeys. They're too funny and silly without a care in the world. All they do is swing from vine, chill, and be awesome. So I end up watching a lot of monkey videos in my free time, especially when I'm off a few gummies. You could best believe that afterward, when I fall asleep, a few cheeky chimps sneak through into my dreams. Now, this particular dream was built different because it starts off in the center of the monkey town square of the monkey village. This place had chimps and baboons walking all about in a civilized manner, and somehow I had this ability to telekinetically communicate with any monkey I wanted to. They would come up to me like, and I'd look into their soft eyes and respond. Yeah, man, I totally get you. That's too true. So I'm doing my monkey business, shopping in the local banana store, when the great sage monkey and mayor of Monkey Society approaches me. Nah, man, you got it all wrong. I'm a monkey just like you. I was just in an accident. So I started climbing this massive tree for the coconut, but it was too hard for my human body. So I eventually fell and landed into mud, where ants instantly ate my body alive. I felt every horrific bite as they tore the flesh straight off the muscle and bone and tendons. Unlike the real world, I wasn't devoured though. I was simply just decreased in size. As a tiny person, the great monk mayor officer supreme presidential monkey came to my side and said to me, I had never felt such disappointment in a chimp's eyes. Then I was quickly thrown into a trash can. It was an abrupt ending, but I mean, these are just dreams. I can't help what happens. Now that was a little dark, so let's lighten the mood. So I keep having dreams about prison. Whenever I go to bed, I more often than not dream I'm in a jail cell locked behind iron bars. This particular high-induced prison dream was a little different than the other ones I've had because it was also completely lucid. I had full control over my thoughts and actions. And for some reason, I was in an all-female prison, despite being a large, smelly man. I vividly remember the first thought I had to myself being, I gotta riz up these prison ladies, sheesh. Then grabbing the bars containing me with my huge arms and ripping them out of the walls one by one. Despite being aware it was a dream, I lost all control. As soon as I stepped out and all these fine dames laid eyes on me, I knew what was about to happen. One by one, each of these women slowly approached me. And right before it was about to get epic, I woke up into a sleep paralysis episode. I was laying in my infested bed as I remember it, but I couldn't move my bones or muscles. Then shadow people started to move out of the closet and slowly approach me. It was just like my dream prior, except that instead of hot babes, it was horrific eldritch underworld demons that probably wanted to kill me. They stood over my lifeless husk of a body, and as I looked them in the eyes, they just looked back. I was so scared I would have shit myself if I had bodily autonomy and wasn't paralyzed. Once I got my bodily control back though, the demons disappeared and I made a sound that sounded something like this. I just wish I got to stay in the prior dream just a little longer, man. There was another day where I was watching the Industry Baby music video non-stop just because I thought it was cool and the song is amazing. As I went to sleep, I had a really cool dream that involved a new strain of herpes that widely spread throughout the United States. It was very infectious and extremely life-threatening. So much so that it got to my entire family and I watched everyone I know and love slowly die in front of my eyes. I was not immune either because the strain eventually got to me and I had to see all my awesome and vascular muscles slowly drain away until I was but skin and bone disintegrating into nothingness. All that was left was to be welcomed into the afterlife's cold embrace. It was probably the coolest dream I've ever had. But throughout all these high dreams, my real high dream is to one day eventually smoke weed with Pokimane. I think that would make for a banger video, am I right? Anyways, I was just like Drake these nights because I would get so high I would be out like a light. And that's the video. Subscribe. Throughout all of human history, we've always wondered, is the Fortnite cart real? This image has been endlessly spread throughout ancient cultures, dating back to hieroglyphic scrawlings in caves. Even to this day, the internet has tried to find it for years on end, and nobody has been able to track it down. Rumors started to spread that it was fake, and the Fortnite slurp juice cart wasn't actually real, but a small dedicated community of brave individuals never gave up hope for the Fortnite slurp juice cart because, quote, the high would be so good from it, and I want to feel like I'm in the real battle bus. So as the professional stickman and honorary Jaden animations of weed, I put it upon myself to truly find out if the Fortnite cart was real and if it in fact gave the greatest highs ever. After doing some digging around the internet, the best source on this topic I found was this Reddit post on r/weed. Clear as day, this individual has the Fortnite cart with the legendary blue THC oil. Reading the comments themselves, things didn't look so good for the investigation. Looks like window washer fluid. Rock on. Cancer speedrun. You should seriously not inhale that. I know it's kinda funny and everything's a joke, but the cart is fucked. Poop_tickle felt extremely passionate passionate about this anti-slurp cart propaganda, but I didn't let it get to me too much. I mean, something being funny has never stopped me from inhaling things in the past, so I kept on my voyage. But then the positive side of the thread started to show itself. Looks real, you should be good. Hit the chug jug. It looked like there were still some believers here who hadn't been gotten by the Reddit brainwash yet. But none of these comments were bringing me any closer to the truth. To take things further, I decided to message the original poster of this image, Blaze_Titan04. And to my surprise, he actually responded. I can't show exact messages since he requested to keep them private as he moves in the shadows on his grind, but he provided an extremely crucial key piece of information. He told me exactly how he acquired his Fortnite slurp cart and who it was from. And best believe it spawns from the depths of Los Angeles. There's a man who runs a small business manufacturing and distributing custom-made THC carts that has the means to make the Fortnite cart a reality. And so I emailed him. Hello, weed legend. I'm a weed man myself and I love weed, but I also love Fortnite. Can you make me the elusive Fortnite cart? Pretty please, I want to smoke that blue. 10 business days later, a mysterious package appears at my doorstep of my house with an evil purple aura shrouding it. I knew this was serious business because one of my generation-long family-employed bush trimmers died bringing the package up from the Ninye engraved iron gate that protects my home. I put on my hazmat suit to carefully extract the Slurpenjamin from the box and ran up to my bedroom to be the first person ever to hit and feel what a Fortnite cart is really made of. What happened next was something I could have never predicted.
Boys, today we have the Fortnite slurp juice cart. It's so rare. Come here, you gotta see this, you gotta see this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro, you gotta try this.
Oh my god, dude. Alright, I'm ready.
I actually don't feel good. I don't think you should do that, bro. I don't think you should hit it. Okay, you actually should, bro. I think there's something wrong. I think there's something wrong with that pen. I think there's something wrong. You shouldn't have hit that, bro. Oh, fuck. No. I told you shouldn't hit that shit, bro. Fuck. Don't tell me you took another hit of that thing. No! Stop! I told you not to take another hit of that thing, bro. Come on! No! No, that's not good for you! That's not good for you! It's been 3 days since he hit the Fortnite pen. He's completely changed in all regards. I'll just show you guys. He's just playing. What the fuck? What are you? Hey!
To answer the millennium-old question, no, the slurp juice cart did not make me feel like I was on the battle bus. But I can confirm it does hit in an indescribably different way. Unlike anything I've ever smoked. But different isn't always better though. It was clear this THC was laced with some sort of evil dark enchantment I wouldn't even wish Chains for Real smoked. And because of this immense power, I flushed it down the toilet so it could never be smoked again. Okay, subscribe.